Chosen one, the spiritual board has flipped, and the forces protecting you have issued a final verdict. You were never a pawn in their manipulations. You were a divine measure of their character. Someone who played a very dangerous game with you is experiencing major endings because they mistook your peace for a lack of protection. They believed exploiting your energy would be consequence-free, but they were actually challenging the divine. This person didn't wake up one morning and randomly decide to mess with you. This was strategic, calculated. They studied you like a project. They learned what made you tick, what made you trust, what made you vulnerable. Then they used that information as weapons. They baited you emotionally, pulled you close just to push you away, watched while you scrambled to make sense of behavior. They designed to confuse, and they enjoyed every second of it. It made them feel powerful, superior, in control. Every time you questioned yourself, they got a rush. Every time you over-explained or tried to fix things, it fed something sick inside them. They turned your kindness into a game and your love into entertainment. And the whole time, they wore a mask so convincing that even you started doubting what your gut was screaming. But here's the part they miscalculated completely. They thought they were dealing with just another person, someone weak, someone they could break and discard without consequence. What they were actually doing was triggering a divine response system that operates outside human timelines. You didn't need to defend yourself. You didn't need to expose them publicly or prove your case to anyone. All you needed to do was step back, and the moment you did, heaven stepped forward. Now watch what happens next, because what I'm about to tell you will make everything click into place. They're experiencing loss after loss right now. Things are falling apart in ways that don't make logical sense. Opportunities are vanishing right before closing. Relationships are imploding without warning. Peace has become a foreign concept for them. Sleep has turned into a battlefield. And they can't figure out why. But you know why. They aren't being punished for hurting you. They're being held accountable for misusing sacred energy. You were sent into this person's life not as a pawn, but as a test, a mirror, a final chance. But your soul was treated like a playground, and now the fun is over. The stakes were always higher than realized. You weren't just hurt. Divine order was violated, and in that moment fate was sealed. The endings showing up aren't coincidences. These aren't just bad days or unlucky moments. These are spiritual verdicts. The game that started is now completely out of control, and here's the twist that's about to blow your mind. The same energy used to try to trap you is now the exact force turning that world upside down, not because you cursed anyone, but because divine protection doesn't play fair when it comes to chosen ones. It plays final. Your life isn't just covered by general spiritual protection. You came into this world with specific agreements written before you ever met this person, contracts signed in realms they don't believe in, boundaries established by forces they can't see. There are invisible lines around your life that no one is allowed to cross without triggering serious consequences. And they had absolutely no clue they were stepping into territory where grace has an expiration date. They thought they were dealing with someone naive, someone too kind to fight back. But what they really did was breach a spiritual contract. And contract breaches in the divine realm don't get settled in court. They get settled in reality. Job opportunities that were guaranteed suddenly vanish. Relationships they thought were solid are collapsing overnight. The peace they used to fake is now completely gone. And it's not just external chaos. Their internal world is becoming a war zone. They wake up with anxiety they can't name. They move through their day feeling watched, feeling heavy, feeling like something is coming, but they don't know what. And they're right. Something is coming. It's already here. It's the weight of every lie they told, every tear they caused, every night you cried because of their cruelty. All of it is circling back, not because you wished it on them, but because energy doesn't disappear. It returns to its source. What's wild is they had a chance to avoid all of this. If they had honored you, supported you, or even just left you alone, things might have gone completely different. But their ego couldn't resist testing you, and now that same ego is dragging them through public and private chaos. The protection over your life isn't gentle when someone crosses the line. It's surgical, it's precise, it's devastating. They didn't just mess with you, they interfered with a chosen life path, and that kind of mistake always comes with a price tag their soul can't afford. The danger was never in who you were pretending to be, it was in who you actually are, a soul covered, chosen, guarded by forces that don't forgive violations. They didn't read the divine clauses, but now they're paying for every single word written in them. Pay attention, because this is where things start getting really interesting. They played their role so well that they actually forgot where the character ended, and they began. They pretended to care, faked vulnerability, mirrored your energy to make you think you found your person, but it was all performance, theater, a calculated act designed to get close enough to drain you. And here's the thing about wearing masks for too long. Eventually, they stop being removable. Now that mask has literally fused to their face. They've lied so much that lies have become their personality. They've manipulated so many people that genuine connection feels impossible now. They're trapped inside the false identity they created, and it's suffocating them. The mask isn't just trapping them, it's rotting everything behind it. Their real self is buried under layers of deception, pride and fear, so thick they can't even find it anymore. They don't know who they are without the act. They can't be vulnerable, because vulnerability requires truth, and truth would expose everything they've built. So they keep performing, keep pretending. But the audience is leaving. People can feel it now. The energy around them feels off, forced, plastic, completely unstable. They're losing credibility in rooms they used to dominate. Their charm isn't working anymore. Their words aren't landing. And the most painful part for them is they can't figure out why. They're doing the same things that used to work like magic. If this touched your heart and mind, hype this video so more chosen ones can receive this message. But here's what changed. The anointing that was on your life, the favor that surrounded you, isn't available to them anymore. They lost access the moment they betrayed you. See, they thought your light was something they could borrow permanently. But spiritual light doesn't work that way. It's not a public resource, it's a private frequency. And when they crossed you, that frequency stopped recognizing them. Now they're stuck performing a character that nobody believes anymore, wearing a mask they can't remove without destroying everything they've built on lies. They thought you'd be the one to fall apart, but you healed, you evolved, you saw through it all and walked away stronger, while they stayed frozen in the identity they crafted to control others. They thought they'd outsmart you. Instead, they outsmarted themselves into a prison of their own making, and there's no escape route, not anymore. What makes this even more devastating for them is how the mask affects every interaction now. When they try to connect with new people, the performance starts automatically. It's become so ingrained they can't turn it off. But people with any level of awareness can sense the inauthenticity immediately. The words sound rehearsed. The emotions seem staged. The whole interaction feels like watching a bad actor struggle through a role they're not suited for. And this creates a cycle they can't break. The more they try to be genuine, the more fake they appear. Because genuine has left the building, it evacuated when they spent too long playing pretend with your heart. Remember when you were at your absolute lowest, when you were crying, breaking down, questioning everything about yourself. It was known, and laughter followed, jokes about your breakdowns like premium entertainment, shade thrown in public, your struggle made into punchlines for private group chats. To this person, your pain was proof of weakness, your silence was proof of winning, your quiet suffering was thought to mean game over in their favor. What was never expected was that silence being sacred space, space where your healing was unfolding in secret, space where karma was being written in ink that doesn't fade. Power was felt in mocking you, especially because an audience existed. Gossip gave status. Your name gave relevance. People gathered around to hear the latest chapter of Crazy You. But now something's shifted. The crowd is gone. The spotlight is off. The stage built on your downfall is completely empty. And what wasn't counted on was the loneliness that follows when becoming known for tearing people down instead of building them up. Now suffering is happening in private, and this isn't the kind of pain that gets sympathy. This is silent, suffocating pain layered with shame that only hits when realizing being dead wrong about everything. Heartbreak can't be posted, regret can't be tweeted, because admitting what's being gone through would mean confessing what was done to you. Being stuck in an emotional jail cell is the reality, and the walls are closing in fast. No one's clapping anymore, no one's listening to stories. The same people who laughed along are now suspicious, distant, or completely gone, and now something absolutely brutal is being realized. Your suffering was turned into a show, and now life has turned theirs into a silent movie with no audience, no applause, and absolutely no escape. What's breaking isn't just the pain itself, it's the silence that was once weaponized against you. It's finally being tasted, but instead of healing inside it the way you did, complete unraveling is happening. No anchor exists, no grace exists, no light to guide through. Because when identity is built on making others fall, life will eventually create a place where ego can't save anyone. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it, their walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is, you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Everything they once controlled is spiraling out of control now. The spaces they used to dominate, deceive and manipulate are closing in on them like walls. Their home feels heavy, oppressive, like the air itself is thick with something they can't name. Their relationships are filled with distrust and tension that wasn't there before. The workplace has become uncomfortable for them, full of misunderstandings, backstabbing, and energy they can't seem to shake no matter what they try. What's happening isn't random bad luck. This is spiritual contamination, and it's spreading like a virus through every area of their life. They spent so much time crafting environments where they could stay in power, where they could twist truth, control narratives, plant seeds of confusion and doubt. But what they didn't understand is that energy doesn't just stay directed at others, it saturates the space it's sent from. And now the very poison they aimed at you is seeping into every corner of their own existence. They created spaces specifically to mock you, isolate you, turn others against you, but now those same places are crumbling. Conversations around them feel awkward and hollow. The people they once convinced so easily are seeing through the performance now. It's like a fog is lifting, but only for everyone else. They're still operating from a script that no longer works. They can't rest in their own home anymore. The vibe is completely off. Their sleep is broken by thoughts they can't control. The same walls that once gave them comfort now feel like they're echoing every lie they told. Their relationships are unraveling too. because control is a terrible substitute for real connection, and when manipulation is your foundation, collapse is absolutely guaranteed. Even at work or in public spaces, they're carrying something heavy that people can sense. People might not know the full story, but they can feel the shift in energy. The charm is gone. Words don't land the same way. The aura they once wore like armor is starting to reek of desperation. It's happening because the energy they put out into the world is now folding back in on itself with compound interest, and nothing they built has immunity to it. The trap they set for you has become their cage. They thought they could control outcomes by creating toxic environments, but energy doesn't take sides. It follows its source, and since they were the source of all that darkness, that same energy is now systematically dismantling everything they touched, quietly, precisely, brutally, and there's no way for them to stop it, because you can't outrun energy you created yourself. What makes this contamination so complete is how it affects even neutral spaces. Places that should feel safe now feel hostile. Activities that used to bring them joy now feel hollow. Even strangers seem to pick up on something off about them. It's like they're broadcasting a frequency that repels genuine human connection. And the more they try to force normalcy, the more abnormal everything becomes. This is what happens when you poison your own well. Eventually you have nothing clean left to drink from. What you need to understand is that the war started to destroy your peace has now relocated to their own head, and it's relentless. The confidence that used to define has collapsed into constant second-guessing. The clarity once had has been replaced by fog and confusion. The mental sharpness that made them dangerous is now turned against them, creating elaborate scenarios of worst-case outcomes that play on repeat. Thoughts are no longer their own. Fear has taken up residence. Anxiety has become the background noise of existence, and paranoia whispers constantly, convincing that everyone sees through the facade. The silence you chose instead of arguing back has become deafening in the internal world. Your absence speaks louder than any confrontation ever could, and in that silence facing oneself is forced. But what gets found when looking inward isn't pretty. It's a wasteland of compromised values, abandoned integrity, and choices that can't be undone. The peace once faked is permanently gone. In its place is restlessness that won't quit. Conversations that never happened get rehearsed, trying to rewrite history favorably, obsessing over what you might be thinking, what you might be saying, what you might be doing without them, and that obsession is eating alive from the inside out. Every manipulation tactic used on you has become a ghost haunting their own mind. The gaslighting perfected, now trusting one's own memories can't happen. The projection weaponized, now flaws are seen in everyone around but refusing to claim them as one's own. The blame-shifting mastered, now being trapped in a cycle of victimhood where nothing is ever their fault, which means nothing can ever be fixed. A mental prison was built with their own hands, and the worst part is still not recognizing the bars for what they are. Sleep has become another battleground. When exhaustion finally pulls under, the subconscious takes over and processes what the conscious mind refuses to acknowledge. You appear in dreams not as the person manipulated, but as the truth that can't be escaped. Sometimes you're silent, just existing in dream space as a reminder of sacred energy violated. Other times you're speaking words that cut through every excuse built, and waking up happens in panic, heart racing, sheets soaked, feeling judged even in the supposed safety of unconsciousness, because the subconscious doesn't participate in lies. It knows what happened, and it's demanding accountability. The waking self won't give. And this is where your power becomes undeniable, because what's happening to this person isn't gradual or gentle, it's systematic demolition. The consequences being faced don't whisper, they roar. Every area of life thought to be secure is being shaken simultaneously. Financial streams are drying up in ways that make no logical sense. Relationships that seemed unshakable are fracturing under pressure that can't be identified. Opportunities supposedly guaranteed are evaporating right before the finish line. And reputation, that fragile thing built so carefully, is crumbling as people compare notes and realize inconsistencies. What makes this level of karmic correction so devastating is its precision. This isn't random chaos, it's targeted dismantling of everything built on false foundations. The universe isn't being cruel, it's being accurate. Every consequence fits the violation, every loss mirrors the energy put out, every door that closes echoes a boundary crossed with you. And the speed of it all is disorienting. Karma moves on divine timing, not human schedules, and when it finally moves, it makes up for the wait with intensity that leaves no room for denial. Watch how attempts to recover keep backfiring. Every strategy tried to regain control ends up making things worse. Reaching out to people for support, and those people pull back, sensing something off, trying to start fresh in new spaces, but the same patterns follow, because the problem isn't external, it's internal. It's the energy carried, the frequency broadcast, and that frequency is now repelling the very things needed most: opportunities, genuine connection, peace, stability, all of it running like radiation exists. The pride that made them feel invincible while hurting you has become the heaviest burden, because pride prevents apology, pride blocks accountability, pride refuses to see its own role in creating chaos. So being stuck in a cycle exists, where the only way out requires the very humility pride won't allow. And the universe isn't rushing to rescue from this paradox. Instead, sitting in it is what's happening, feeling the full weight of consequences, understanding, slowly and painfully, that some games have prices too high to pay. And this is crucial for you to understand. The person experiencing these endings wasn't just attracted to you romantically or platonically. What drew them was something sensed but couldn't be articulated. You carried favor. You moved through the world with a certain ease that comes from being aligned with purpose. Doors opened, opportunities appeared, people were drawn to your energy without you trying, and when this person got close to you, some of that favor spilled over, not because it was earned, but because proximity to blessed energy creates overflow. For a while, being associated with you gave access to rooms with no business being entered. Your credibility became the pass, your reputation became the cover, your goodness became what people assumed without investigation, and instead of being grateful for that grace, instead of rising to match that frequency, it was seen as something to exploit. All the benefits of your light were wanted without any of the responsibility that comes with walking in truth, wanting to shine without generating own heat. And that's exactly how parasites function, training the host while contributing nothing. The host doesn't die when you detach. The parasite does. The moment you pulled your energy back, stepped away, closed the door on that connection, everything sustaining them dried up, and now people see them without the filter of your presence. The inconsistencies that were always there are glaring now. The manipulation tactics that were subtle before are obvious now. The charm that seemed genuine reads as performance now, because your light was softening edges, making darkness appear less dark, and without that light, exposure exists. Now watch how desperate the attempt becomes to find another source, another person to attach to, another light to hide behind. But it's not working, because the universe has marked them. Once sacred energy gets violated, that mark doesn't wash off easily. People with discernment can feel it. Something about this person sets off alarm bells that can't be explained. Red flags pop up faster, trust comes slower, and doors that used to open now stay firmly shut. You weren't just their shield, you were the last chance to do right by someone sent to elevate them, and it got blown spectacularly. Something powerful is happening in the realm of truth right now, And you need to pay attention to this because it's proof that divine justice doesn't forget. The story told about you, the narrative crafted so carefully to make you look unstable or difficult or untrustworthy, is falling apart, not because you're defending yourself, not because you're arguing your case, but because lies have an expiration date, and the shelf life on their fiction has expired. People are starting to compare notes. Timelines aren't matching up. Details shared with different people are contradicting each other, and the listeners, the ones who believed the story initially, are now questioning everything. Because if someone can lie that convincingly about you, what else are they lying about? Who else have they slandered? How much of their entire personality is just performance? These questions are spreading like wildfire through the social circles that once supported the false narrative, and the answers being found aren't pretty. What's fascinating is how truth works. You don't have to force it, you don't have to fight for it, you just have to wait for it. Because truth is patient, it sits quietly while lies run around making noise. But eventually, lies run out of energy, they contradict themselves, they reveal their own holes, and truth just stands there, unchanged, waiting to be seen. That's what's happening now. The truth about who you are, what actually happened, and who this person really is underneath all the masks, is emerging naturally, not through your effort, through the simple passage of time and the natural consequences of dishonesty. The credibility collapse isn't just social, it's psychological. When a lie has been told so many times that belief in it exists, having that lie exposed doesn't just damage reputation, it fractures sense of reality. Suddenly trusting one's own memory can't happen, can't remember what's true versus what was invented. The mental gymnastics required to maintain multiple versions of the same story are exhausting, and now that people are questioning those stories, the mental structure holding it all together is crumbling. The truth isn't just clearing your name, it's destroying the false identity an entire life was built around. What happened between you and this person wasn't just relational dysfunction, it was spiritual robbery, and you need to understand the depth of what actually occurred. Your energy, your essence, the light you carry isn't common. It's cultivated through trials, refined through healing, blessed through alignment with divine purpose. You didn't just wake up one day glowing. That glow was earned through dark nights of the soul, through choosing forgiveness when revenge felt justified, through standing in truth when lies would have been easier. This person saw that glow and wanted it without earning it, wanted the benefits without the becoming, wanted the light without the labor, so theft was attempted, positioning close enough to drain you, to tap into your frequency, to feed off your spiritual resources like a vampire feeds off blood. And for a while, it worked. You gave freely because that's your nature. You poured in because you saw potential. You invested energy, time, wisdom and love because you believed in transformation. But transformation only happens when someone is willing to do internal work. And this person wasn't willing. A shortcut was wanted. Downloading your enlightenment without going through their own dark night was desired. Now here's the spiritual law most people don't understand. Sacred energy operates on reciprocity. When receiving from a blessed source, honoring that blessing is expected, protecting it, reciprocating with equal energy. But when taking from sacred energy and giving back manipulation, lies and betrayal, bad karma isn't just created. Spiritual debt is created, and that debt compounds, interest accrues, and eventually the collection process begins. That's what this person is experiencing now. Every bit of energy stolen from you is being extracted from their life. Every moment of peace robbed from you is being removed from their days. Every tear caused you is returning multiplied. The universe doesn't let sacred energy theft go unpunished. Not because it's vengeful, but because balance must be maintained. When someone violates spiritual law at this level, the correction isn't mild, it's absolute. And what makes it even more devastating is that what was stolen never actually belonged to them. So when it's taken back, being left with less than they started with happens. Being left bankrupt, spiritually empty, energetically depleted, because you can't steal light and expect to keep shining. Stolen light always flickers out, and now sitting in self-created darkness, wondering why nothing works anymore. Let's get clear on something important. Your presence in this person's life wasn't random. It wasn't chance. It wasn't coincidence. You were sent, positioned specifically, timed precisely. You showed up at a crucial moment in their journey when the opportunity to choose growth over ego, truth over manipulation, love over control existed. You were their divine checkpoint. The moment where the universe asked, "Who are you really?" And the answer, given through actions, sealed fate. Every choice made regarding you was a test question. Would you be honored or exploited? Would you be learned from or diminished? Would rising to your frequency happen, or would attempting to drag you down occur? And with every manipulative tactic, every lie told, every moment of mockery, those questions were answered wrong. Ego was chosen over evolution, pride over growth, control over connection, and the universe recorded every answer. When a spiritual test this significant gets failed, the consequences aren't temporary. The doors that close don't reopen easily. The opportunities that pass don't circle back. The grace that was extended doesn't get offered again. What's devastating for this person now is the realization slowly dawning that you weren't just another relationship. You were the relationship, the one that could have changed everything, the one that carried the potential for greatest transformation, and it was fumbled, destroyed, thrown away for momentary feelings of power and control that meant nothing in the long run. Now watching you thrive without them is happening, seeing you glow brighter in their absence, witnessing you step into new levels they'll never access. And that knowledge burns, because being part of that elevation was possible, growing alongside you was possible, being transformed by simply choosing differently was possible. But chosen ones don't wait around for people to get it right. Your time is too valuable. Your purpose is too important. Your energy is too precious to waste on those who refuse to honor it. So you moved on, and in moving on, you sealed the door behind you. That door doesn't reopen, not for them, not anymore. What was lost when you were lost wasn't just your presence. It was their future, their opportunity, their chance at becoming who they could have been. And that loss, that specific ending, is one that will be carried for the rest of life. Everything that person took from you is being returned with interest. Every moment of peace they stole, every night of sleep they disrupted, every ounce of confidence they tried to destroy, every piece of your light they attempted to dim. It's all coming back to you, multiplied while being extracted from them simultaneously. The universe doesn't just restore what was taken from chosen ones. It gives compensation for the violation, bonus blessings for enduring what you shouldn't have had to endure, extra favor for maintaining your integrity while under attack. Watch how doors are opening for you now that were closed before, opportunities appearing that weren't available when that person was in your life, people entering your world who actually see you, value you, honor you the way you deserved all along. This isn't coincidence. This is cosmic rebalancing. The energy that was being drained by that toxic connection has been freed up, and now it's flowing toward your purpose instead of being wasted on someone who refused to appreciate it. Your life is expanding in their absence. Your joy is returning in the space they used to occupy. Your peace is rebuilding in the silence they can no longer disturb. While their life contracts under the weight of consequences, yours expands under the blessing of freedom. While they lose opportunities, you gain them. While they scramble for stability, you rest in divine provision. While they perform for audiences that no longer applaud, you simply exist in authentic power that needs no validation. The contrast couldn't be clearer. The person who tried to break you is broken. The person who mocked your pain is drowning in their own. The person who played games with your soul has lost everything that mattered in theirs. Notice how your intuition has sharpened since their departure. You can read people better now. You spot red flags faster. You trust your gut without second guessing. That's because you're no longer being gaslit. Your internal guidance system has recalibrated, and it's operating at a higher frequency than ever before. The clarity you have now would have been impossible while they were still in your life. Their chaos kept you confused. Their manipulation kept you doubting yourself. But in their absence, you've rediscovered your own wisdom, and it's more powerful than anything they ever tried to convince you of. Your energy is different now, too. People feel it. Strangers are drawn to you in ways they weren't before. Good things are finding you without you chasing them. Synchronicities are happening with increasing frequency. That's what happens when you remove a blocked drain from your life. The flow returns, the abundance returns, the magic returns, and it's not just returning, it's multiplying, because the universe rewards those who have the courage to walk away from what's destroying them. You didn't just survive what they put you through, you evolved because of it. And now you're operating at a level they'll never comprehend. Chosen one, you're free. Free from their games, free from their toxicity, free from their energy drain. And in that freedom, you're discovering who you actually are without someone constantly trying to dim your light. You're stepping into power that was always yours but couldn't fully emerge while they were draining you. You're accessing levels of peace, joy and purpose that were blocked by their presence. The endings they're experiencing are clearing the way for your new beginnings. Their loss is literally your gain. And divine justice has never looked more beautiful than it does right now, watching them fall while you rise. Walk forward in confidence. The dangerous game is over, the player lost, and the universe stands with you, having proven once again that chosen ones don't fight their battles alone. You never did, you never will. The protection around you is real, the favor on you is undeniable, and anyone foolish enough to play games with your soul will discover what this person is discovering now. You don't win against the divine. You don't beat someone heaven has marked for greatness. You don't destroy what God has anointed. The board always flips. The truth always surfaces. And chosen ones always win in